Good afternoon, everybody. It's Chris Abbott here with Taris Capital, and I have the pleasure and privilege today to bring my brother-in-law, Roy Cleeves, the Accidental Millionaire, to you. And Roy's been good enough to spend some time with us today chatting a little bit about his journey to wealth through real estate investing. And I've known you for how long now, Roy? I'm thinking back to 1983. So what's that, 36 years?
Yes, that's it exactly.
Which seems impossible. I'm only 30.
Long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Back when you had that really long hair.
Oh yeah, that is a long time. You know, and it's really kind of cool as I've had the opportunity to watch you in your journey. We've kind of taken parallel journeys here in terms of our real estate and our love of real estate. And today I just really wanted to have an opportunity to pick your brain a little bit and share with other people what it is that you're doing. Those people who are interested in getting involved in real estate investing, or perhaps are already heavily involved in real estate, but are looking at, broadening their horizons or looking at it from a higher level. Sometimes we get so stuck in what it is we're doing, we, fail to see the bigger picture, or different ways of doing, what others are doing and advancing our portfolio. So maybe you could take a little bit, and share some of your backstory in terms of what you're doing today. You're a broker, you run a real estate team. Maybe you can share a little bit of that with us.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree with you, Chris. We get kind of caught up in the day-to-day. We have a little more time right now because of the COVID-19. We have a little more time at home. But generally, when we didn't, we got busy with the day-to-day, and we don't always get to do the learning that we want and that kind of thing. So I'll tell you, first and foremost, I'm a husband to your beautiful sister and a father of two beautiful boys.
Yeah.
I'm also a real estate broker for 17 years and a real estate investor for 18 years. And what I'm doing right now is I'm currently developing in Halifax, Nova Scotia, along with a partner. I'm building 2 8-plex rental buildings at this time.
Exciting. 2 purpose-built apartment buildings out there.
Yeah.
Without getting too far down the road into that, because we'll touch on that. So you're way into apartment buildings now. So you're doing multifamily purpose-built property. Let's go way back to the beginning. I want you to share a little bit of insight with everybody about, what you were like as a little boy, what your interests were, and the point I'm taking, I just kind of want to see your path to this, because having been in real estate for 20 years almost myself, 16 full-time as a broker sales representative and as an investor, it's there's a lot of myths in real estate investing, and a lot of people put up false barriers towards getting into it. And some of that starts when they're younger. So I'm just curious, as a boy, what was your mindset like? Tell me a little bit about your family, what your home life was like, how you viewed money, any kind of influences on you that you look back on and think, wow, that was really something that held me back, or on the flip side, maybe it really pushed you forward and gave you momentum.
Well, I think, when we talk about money, I always kind of really liked money and what I could get with it. And I was pretty good at saving it up when I had a goal. So I was pretty goal-oriented, and one of my first goals was to get a car. So I bought a car even before I was 16. So before I could even drive, I already had a car. And of course, that was a 1975 Gremlin X by AMC.
Wow.
And, I enjoyed that time, but I also realized that knowledge was powerful, and I knew that I would kind of need that to further a career. So I actually sold that car so that I could pay my tuition fees to attend Wilfrid Laurier University, where I graduated with honors from business administration. So
even that, Roy, let me jump in on you. So you obviously had a business-minded focus. Did that come about through, was it just something you always felt, or did someone point you in that direction? I mean, it's not everybody who decides they want to get into business. I mean, something normally, puts them in that direction. What was it for you?
For me, it was my schooling. There was teachers in high school where I was taking business, and they said, they gave me awards, and I was like, my gosh, I got these awards in business. I guess business is what I should do. So when I started looking for universities, I looked for business. And, when we talk about teachers and university, Like those are some of the mentors that have helped me along the way. Those, and also I found that employers really helped me, because a lot of my employers helped me set goals. And when you set goals and you write them down, it really helps you achieve those goals. And it's surprising. I remember I went down in my filing cabinet and I found goals that I had written back about probably 20 years ago now. And I had written, you know, a weight loss goal, an income goal, and all of those goals, amazingly, except for the weight loss, I achieved, right? Every one of them. And they were even goals for other people, like for my wife and for my parents and that kind of thing. And I reached them all. And then, of course, what happens is you realize those were goals at that time. And now that I'm older and I've reached those goals, we set new goals that are higher.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a big fan of goal setting, and I think the biggest risk to goal setting is your comfort zone, because if you don't set your goals high enough or big enough, once you step into something that seems so far away, life gets pretty good and you can get complacent. And I think it's always important to even have an accountability partner or a coach or a mentor, someone who can, you know, say, Roy, come on, you've got more in you, you can do more, like keep going. And
well, it's so true, because we grow into the conversations that are around us. So if we talk with people about investing, it becomes part of our goals and we learn about it. If we don't talk about it and we only have like small talk and we talk about the weather and we talk about the next movie we're going to go to, those are nice, enjoyable conversations, but they're not purposeful and they really don't help you move towards a goal or to improve your net worth. Right.
Well, you said it. You nailed it. Two things: the money aspect and the purposefulness. You know, you can't start a journey without knowing where you're going. But even on the money side of things, I look back when I was, you know, a young guy, and money wasn't something we talked about. It wasn't something you discussed with friends or family. And I really didn't have any financial literacy growing up. It wasn't, in fact, until I remember specifically, it was 1998, and I was in university. And I was taking my business degree, and I actually had a friend I would see on the life cycle at the gym, and he was always and forever reading great books. And one time he was reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And once I read that book, it really tweaked my thinking from a corporate mindset into more of an entrepreneurial one. And then that sets you on a new path, right? And you and I got on that path together. If you want to, maybe we can talk about that, how we...
Yeah, I'll happily talk about that. And it's so true. And, you know, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I'd attended one of his trainings as well. And I also played his cash flow game, right? The cash flow game. That really gets you thinking in that way, because you think, wow, this is a different game. And of course, I always loved the game of Monopoly. Used to play that with my family. So, but the interesting thing, brother, is that you invited me to a zero down real estate conference many years ago. It's got to be at least 20 years ago now.
That was 1999, Russ Whitney in Toronto. Yeah.
Yes. And that was a breakout for you and I both, because, you know, from that we got so motivated that we said, okay, we're going to go buy a place. And you were really good at helping drive me to go look at places, because you were in Oakville and I was in, you know, Kitchener. And of course we were looking in Guelph. So I think I was a little bit closer. Anyway, at the end of the day, you and I bought our first investment property on London Road in Guelph for
209,000. Does that sound right?
I think it was 190. Anyway, somewhere in around there, close to 200,000.
Yeah, it's unimaginable now, right? When you think about what we got, like a triplex property, and we had a lot of experiences there. I'd say we pretty much covered off all of the to don'ts that you can come across. We, you know, had adopted a whole host of tenants. I think in total we had 1 in the basement, 4 on the main, and 2 upstairs. And we learned about non-payment of rents and N5s and all the various forms. Tenancy lease agreements, insurance, financing, everything. It was a real great learning. And I would say to anybody who's considering it that, you know, if getting into real estate is something they want to do, you have to get a good group of peers and build your professional team. So lawyers, realtors, a great mortgage lender, and you have to go in and you just got to get involved. I think the best way of learning is kind of, we went right in the deep end on that first one, right?
We did, and we didn't really have too many people to guide us. We were kind of doing it on our own. I mean, we had a little bit of learning, but the way that Russ Whitney course went, they wouldn't really guide you unless you gave them another 10 grand or something. And you and I were like, no, we're putting that money as their down payment on this property.
Right.
Now, at the end of the day, that I think the thing you and I learned the most out of that is that we have to screen the tenants, because I put tenants in there that I should never put in, people that showed up with cash. And, you know, you and I were also kind of tight because it's our first property, and we were like, we don't want to miss a mortgage payment. So we took a tenant that we shouldn't have, where, you know, now when I talk to people about investing, it's really good if they have a little buffer just in case something happens. And you think of what happened now with this COVID-19.
Oh, yeah.
There's some tenants that, you know, aren't going to pay or going to pay part, and you have to have that little bit of buffer to be comfortable in your investment.
Yeah, I mean, those are things you learn along the way, but a mentor or a coach, someone who can help guide you, it's invaluable. And I tell the younger guys in my office now, for example, some of them are crushing it. And it's like, you know, you're in a time right now where access to information is so plentiful and available. You can go on YouTube. There's all sorts of different coaches and programs. When you and I started, I had a little book, if you remember. It was Building Wealth Through Real Estate Investing, From Rags to Riches, with Russ Whitney. And if you remember, we actually used the second month's rent and the security deposit as part of our down payment on closing. And that was right from the book. So, you know, I think the biggest thing we did is we actually acted. We took action, you know.
For sure, because there's so many people that get the analysis paralysis. They keep looking for like the first perfect deal instead of just going and saying, okay, I'm going to make a deal as long as it, you know, looks like it'll be okay. I'm going to go ahead and maybe I'll make a home run on the next one. Maybe this is first base instead of a home run, right? Right.
And you know what? It's you get seminar junkies and people who get addicted to learning everything there is, but they don't actually go out and do it. Which is where I love the saying, you know, ready, fire, aim. And, you know, you can always calibrate once you've taken your shot, get in there and you know, seek out the support you need. So, you know what, anyone you modeled, I'm just kind of curious who some of your role models are, you know, even growing up or today, that you still look at and you'll look at certain attributes they have that you aspire to or that help influence your decisions and your goals.
Yes, for sure. So basically, I've had a lot of mentors, all the way from employers to every broker that I've worked for has been an excellent mentor for me. All of my business partners, including you, have been an excellent mentor. And, you know, Thomas Wong is one that comes to mind for me, because Thomas Wong taught me the rent to own. And now I've done over 40 of those rent to owns through the years. And that's something that I didn't even understand, and I find a lot of realtors still don't understand it.
Incredible.
Yet it's a great way to help people, you know. And
for those who don't know, Roy, share with us a little bit about the Rent to Own program, just in a nutshell. And
yeah, for sure. So in a nutshell, it's basically for people that have a blemish on their credit, and because of that, they can't get a mortgage at this time, but they make enough income, they have a bit of down payment, and they want to get into their own homes. So